Internet shutdowns are a whole other thing.
Okay.
Those are probably pretty bad for blockchains. Relatively recently, we had EU proposals to make like literally euro transactions running on trusted hardware on phones, which had to be hacked in like days.
Sure, yeah.
And then people just like print themselves a lot of euros. And the Elves protocol that does the sharding was basically Alistair, me, and Rab Habermeyer. If you can get a game company that actually has 10 million players a day, suddenly you need quite a lot.
I like this idea of like a cryptographic playground.
At the moment, what we should really focus on is shipping these host calls.
Hey, everybody, and welcome to Attempts at Governance, episode 206. And we are back with a massive panel here today and a lot of big refs, some spicy, some victorious, a whole lot going on today, and a brand new section as well later in the show, which we're calling House of Shame, where we're going to take a look at some refs that, I don't know, didn't really go so well. We're going to talk about that and so much more, but we're going to start with the state of the Treasury, which is looking pretty neutral this week. We are up on the dot front, 200,000, which is worth about $1 million at today's rocketing, market-bucking market value. That brings the Treasury to 29.72 million dot. Pretty nice. We're down 100,000 USDC, down to 7.71 million USDC, and down 910,000 USDT to 9.08 million. That's the state of the Treasury. I'll now throw it over to Funky, live from France, for the state of the funk.
Thanks so much, Jay. The state of the funk is deeply devastated. It goes without saying that what has transpired in the last few days is quite a blow to the entire Polkadot community that has been so supportive. Connor, Andrew, Chris, and to have somebody, a single person, come in and effectively destroy all of our effort, all of our work, without even knowing the fact, right? Thinking that this was in DOT and not stables, despite it having been in stables for months. Among many other things that we could litigate, but obviously this isn't the whole point of the state of the funk. And then to let alone the death blow it served to the momentum that we could have generated off the bat for the North American Strategic Initiative, which will now be flat-footed and have to wait for a bounty to emerge and lose more time. So yeah, my spirit's broken, if I'm being completely honest, Jay. But we'll leave it at that.
Thank you for sharing. I want to open up this discussion now before we get to Ref Gone By, because this is a Ref Gone By. Connor Daly 2025 Polkadot Motorsports Program 2.0, $3.5 million for, a whole bunch of stuff. This was a 4-month, longer than 4 months. I'm not sure when we started negotiating this, but this is, I think, the third or fourth ref over 4 months, which involved dozens and dozens of community members, lots of time on this show, lots of time in private chats and on videos, and lots of value pulled together from initiatives all over the ecosystem. This was sitting at 80% or something like that, close to 80% last week. And it was chipped away, apparently, Funky, you're saying by one person. Maybe we can get the details on that, but I don't know if we want to open it up to Andrew or Connor first. But Connor, yeah, I'm sorry this has happened to you, Connor. I mean, you've been such a great ambassador, and you've been working so hard, and you've put so much on the line for this. Thank you for being here. I want to give the floor to you for a second, and anything you want to say.
No, it's cool, and honestly, I appreciate it. I mean, the folks here, everyone's been really helpful for us, right? We didn't, we obviously put up a ref. Like back in August, it didn't go well, of course, and it wasn't well thought out, but we just kept asking questions, right? And trying to do what we were told was the right thing, which is gather information to make it worth it, right? Because that is the goal. We want to make it worth it for everyone. We want to make it worth it for the community, and went the route as well of finding the KPIs, right? KPIs, big wordage that we were trying to fulfill. And I got to talk to a lot of awesome people. I mean, I've learned so much through these last, 18 months, really, after even our first ref that got, passed with flying colors, which was really cool. And that was an amazing experience to represent for everyone here. But to see the capabilities and to see what's possible here, it was actually the reason why we kept, coming back to the table, kept speaking to everyone that was like, man, when I talk to the CEO of companies that I know, VBrick, for example, which I continue to hope, builds a lot here. Mm-hmm. They were excited about it too. So there seemed to be a mutual excitement of being involved in Polkadot and being involved with this community and the smart people that are here, going to Harvard with the EZA guys, doing a hackathon there, met so many incredibly smart and talented young people, just trying to do things like that. And, this ref, we thought we had all the right pieces in place. Again, instead of DOT stables, all right, trying to respect the system there. working with every single DV. You know, obviously not everyone's going to be on our side, right? Like it's not like everyone would say, of course, because everyone's going to have differing thoughts on it. But to have the majority of the DVs, right, on the A side, I feel like that's what the system told us we should be doing, right? That those are the groups that we thought were, you know, these are the very instrumental voices in this community, the people that we wanted to make sure we respected what they thought. And then, you know, once we were in confirmation, you know, Mark from Scytail Digital, I mean, there's no hiding from it. This guy basically just didn't even read our referendum, and we talked to him. You know, thankfully he did give us the time of day, respectfully, on the very last day of our confirmation or of our decision period.
Yesterday.
So, you know, yesterday, and you know, had a long chat with him, and again, didn't even read anything other than the title. You know, thought it was.
Oh my God.
Stable. You know, didn't know anything about VBrick, which is a real business that is already building and spent loads of money on what they're bringing to the community. Didn't know anything about the Billfold stuff and you know what, we've already actually got one venue onto the Billfold POS system. So I guess congrats on that. That's good. That was part of our KPIs that we've already delivered, even though we don't have a ref that went through. So, you know, he openly said that, you know, he obviously lobbied against us there and tried to get the major, you know, major account the major wallet that hit us hard. And it is a shame, but I can be really proud of everyone here. Honestly, the interactions that we've had are awesome. You know, we got double the A votes than nay votes, which is apparently, you know, what you're supposed to do. I thought had the DVs, and I think we can be really proud of that. Sadly, it does mean a lot for both Andrew, myself, my career. I'll probably lose my seat with the race team, but that's, you know, again, we take these risks. That's not anyone's fault. This is business. Business is hard sometimes. You know, it's been awesome to learn what we've learned here, but it does seem like there is a bit of a problem in the system, if that's how it's going to work. And, you know, to all the refs that are up there now, you know, I'm excited to learn more about them and continue to support them, but just be aware, I guess, of what can happen, because it was definitely a bit of a surprise for us, and a very, very costly one at that as well.
Jesus
and
Christ.
I am also the front facing one, so the media is going to ask me questions all next week.
Yeah.
The first race is in 2 weeks, which was supposed to be a Polkadot race. People kind of knew that. There's a Polkadot race suit somewhere. It's probably going to be at Goodwill or something like that. It does exist. But if you can find that, that'd be quite a memento, quite a little memento of an interesting part of history. But
my God.
But I don't know what to say to the media, because it when you explain it, it does not sound good.
No, it makes us look very bad.
So anyway, but I you know, it's not anyone's fault here, because there's a lot of people that were for it. There were a lot of people that were against it, which is normal. But we felt like we did the work that you know, was desired. So I appreciate it.
You know, I want to say real quick that I want to preface with what I'm about to say is that with that token weighted skin in the game voting is the best system we can possibly have right now without, you know, this proof of personhood thing. I think it makes a lot of sense. Obviously, we want the people with the most to lose to have the most power. That being said, obviously there's a certain amount of responsibility that comes with swinging around a huge voting bag. And you said your first ref was in August, so that means that we've been, you know, dozens of people have been working together for 6 months to pull out tons of value to build programs on this, and then someone with a lot of responsibility, you said it was Mark from Scytail, so Mark from Scytail comes at the very last minute with a massive responsibility, apparently hasn't read the ref, doesn't know any of its contents, has no respect at all for the dozens of people who have been working to make this happen. No respect at all. And just swings that bag and puts an end to this whole saga. So OpenGov is working as intended. It's the best system we have. But that massive disrespect that Mark from Scytail showed this whole community group of people working with the resources they have to make something valuable happen is madness. I can't believe that. And on top of it, how it's going to look so bad on Polkadot as well. It actually has, it's a negative blow, not just to you and your career, but also to Polkadot. Didn't even read the ref. That's crazy to me. Wow, the fucking disrespect.
Real quick, I mean, by the end of that call and what I won't say everything that was said, because I think there's more that was said that is kind of disheartening for the group. But that is what it is. But by the end of the call, after explaining actually what the business that we were bringing to the table, he's like, oh, well, maybe I can flip this back into confirmation and we can talk about it more.
Wow.
And then obviously that, nothing happened. So there was, kind of, it ended up being just a bit of a disheartening situation, but again, appreciative of the time. And I don't want to take up too much time here.
Well,
I know
thanks.
Andrew.
Thanks for showing up at the last minute after 6 months. I can't believe it. The disrespect to everybody who's been working hard is crazy. And I know a lot of people are afraid of Saito because they got this big bag and everything like that. But I mean, come on, you want to work with us here, or what? Okay, sorry, Andrew, probably your time here.
I mean, I think what's said is said. I don't, as I've done, for the last few months. I know a lot of people here have varying opinions on this entire program, to which I respect. I think there's a sense of business maturity that should be adopted across the board for all of it. And even in the last few days, it's probably the first time that I've heard it so consistently about. And I will say because I am a token holder myself and have a bag, but like our community being compared to Web 2 so much. Well, this would never happen in a Web 2 world. Like, oh, if you did this, we would be laughed out of the room. And to me, I think that was probably the most disheartening thing was you're working to be the evolved version of what's wrong with Web 2. Mm-hmm. And yet here we are looking back at the 11th hour rather than looking forward. This is business. A lot of people here are very successful business people, and there's no knock on that. I'm seeing the faces here, and I know some people are just like, dude, shut up, and I get it. But at the end of the day, this will and could and might be you next. And I think that's my only message is this, if we're the guinea pigs for how OpenGov is going to really shape down and trim the fat for a true process-oriented system and how these referendums get pushed through, then God bless. If that's our greatest gift to this community as we leave is like, hey, finally we have a system in place where this is how you should go about doing it. Because I think to Connor's point, we did everything that everyone told us to do. And to kind of just be derailed at the 11th hour by one group. I mean, listen, I think you said it best, Jay. With great power, there's great responsibility to that. And I'm not mad if somebody disagrees. There are several people on this panel right now who we do not see eye to eye on a lot of things, and that's okay.
Yeah, that's okay.
But it's even those individuals, I don't think, even with their own powers, have given us the respect and courtesy on the upfront to be like, your program sucks. We don't agree. Great. We should have had this conversation in August. We should have had this conversation at the beginning of this third rep that we put through. Mm-hmm. But right now, I mean, I don't know. To me, I just wouldn't be proud. And I can't be proud.
I don't feel proud of the DAO at all right now.
No.
And you're right. It's if people disagree with your program, that's cool. It's this problem of not knowing, coming in, wiping out all the work. I mean, even me, I just kind of sat back on this one and watched, with these bigger refs, I just like to watch the consensus develop, as host of this show, I don't want to get too heavy on one side or the other, but just to watch somebody come in and not participate at all and just, it's not that they disagree, it's the way it came in.
If I could just say, the last thing I'll say, I said it a little bit off air. There are so many great people in this ecosystem.
Yeah.
So many. I'm looking at this panel. Robert, God bless you for helping us this last referendum with the pre-image. Chris, for sending an 8-page email 18 months ago. Funky for lobbying like it was the presidential election. Like, there's so many. Like Moonbear, Limo, even though you're probably drinking 18 beers right now, still, that's fine. We love you for it. Like, there's so many great people, so many. And that's the hardest part about all this is that this community, it really is special. And I think that's another thing to swallow is like, we're not saying we're leaving. Like, I know there's a lot of emotion tied to this, but like, where do we go from here is a very, very big question mark. So to those of you who have like even just taken the courtesy to talk to us, it means a lot. It really, really means a lot. And hopefully from an authentic perspective, you can see that we really have cared. We've showed up. We've tried our best to absorb into your world and try to explain our world to you as well. So for that, all we can do is say thank you.
Millions of dollars on the line, dozens of people, hundreds of hours of work. Communication is a courtesy. Funkatron.
One last thing, I know we're already well over time, but I just wanted to say, to me, this demonstrates an incredible lack of leadership. You know, how you, as an important figure in the ecosystem, does not see the broad social consensus, the fact that the majority of the DDs are already in a position where they support this. You know, even if you didn't know the rest of the facts, like, how do you not look at that situationally and say, we need to support this, we need to push for this,
I
we
guess you
need
have
to
to
make
think you know
sure that
better
this.
than the consensus of dozens of
Well,
people.
in this, yeah, and this, at the end of the day, I've framed this question, and I will frame it to the entire Polkadot community right now. Do we want to be a chain that is nothing more than an inflationary token design for whales who have been in the early game since the ICO, and it's a magic internet printer money that they just sell their dot and whatever?
Mhm.
Or are we going to do something for once and be avant-garde and get back into position where we know this tech can take us?
Mhm.
Because right now, it seems like the whales, all they give a shit about is their fucking money and nothing else. They certainly don't care about anybody else who's on this call right now. All the individuals, the people who are the small token holders, like anybody I'm looking on this screen, who believe in Polkadot, who believe in the tech, they don't give a shit about us. That's how I feel today.
Oh, and it runs deeper than, we should probably talk about on this camera. I mean, some of these legacy organizations that are, in self-preservation mode. I mean, the balls that are being dropped, balls thrown to them because, they represent Polkadot in some sort of way, and then, oh, the stuff the stuff I've heard lately is painful. It's so vital that we build alternative on ramps uh, for bringing people in and adding to this ecosystem, because there's a lot of people in recliner mode, just hurting us every day. And a lot of us are pretty all in on this situation, and we would be hurt bad if Polkadot didn't work out. Um, unlike some other people. Raul.
Hey, hey. I just want to say just a general thought, since I think this is like the discussion is out of time.
Oh.
But to think for 2025 is what mechanisms can we design and can put on chain in order to counterbalance the situations, right? We have delegations already. We have the decentralized voices program. We have conviction voting. Delegation pulse voting is coming to Kusama with 1.4 and then to Polkadot. What else can we think that can make the small token holders' voices bigger in comparison to the large token holders? This is something that the people working on governance and people thinking about Polkadot governance should think about in 2025.
I love it. Yeah. Yeah, it's important to not be demoralized by the situation. Limo.
A real quick one about nomination pools. I think at my Sub-Zero presentation I mentioned this. So there's enough dot in nomination pools, I think it's 30 mil, that if they are voted or delegated at 3x, that's 90 million dot, right? Which is more than kind of what shows up at the moment. And that's all the small stakers, right?
Wow.
So like as a community, we need to get these people either active in governance by being active voters or delegating, right? It's a real lot of dot. So it's super important.
And that dot that somebody might have in a nomination pool, can they delegate it, or is it all going to be self-directed? How is that going to work?
I believe they will be able to in 1.4. I don't know
Very
if
cool.
Raul knows, but I'm assuming so.
Very cool. Okay. Thank you for that, Raul. That's a good point. Anybody else want to say anything about this before we go to other refs gone by? Yeah, Jose.
Yeah, just thinking about this, and as Andrew mentioned before, the leadership. It's there's a lack of leadership, and that's understandable, right? And how do we solve this? I don't know. Probably we're giving too much weight to the knowledge that voters need to have to analyze these kind of situations, and probably we need basically, bounties that could accommodate these kind of things, that you have capable people analyzing these proposals into detail, right? So I think it's like we're still long ways away from having like a voting system that will accommodate everything, right? But we're getting there, right? We're just working on it. So this is a show that that is just showing we're things went wrong, right? So we'll fix that, as much as we can, right? So
Yeah. Yeah, like I said, nothing against whales. I think this makes the most sense for what we have here. Just, hey, if whales are going to slap everybody in the face, then what do they expect? Looks bad. Okay, I hope the PR isn't too bad. Thanks, Connor and Andrew, for everything, and hope to see you again. Let's see. Oh, we'll now throw it over to Limo for referenda gone by.
Thank you very much. So there's 6 refs this week. The first one is by Token Terminal on the Big Spin the Track, ref 1381.
Great.
This was approved, and this is for 1 million USDT for the Token Terminal ratified payment, because I believe last time they used the PO proxy. So it's good that went free. Then, as we've just spoke about, we've got Connor Daly on the Big Spin the Track, ref 1389 was rejected, and we've just been through all that. Then we've got Nervous Sound Technologies on the Big Spinner Track, ref 1391 was approved for 1 million USDT for Nova Wallet's 6th proposal. Thank you to everybody that voted aye for that. Then we've got Coin Studio, ref 1395 on the Medium Spinner Track. This was approved. This is for 21.5 thousand DOT for the Polkadot Systems Parachain's Collator Bounty Top Up for 2025. Then we've got Ideal Labs, ref 1383. This was approved as well, and this is for 300,000 USDC for Ideal Network, the randomness layer for Polkadot's World Computer. I think it adds verifiable randomness
cool.
palettes and stuff. Pretty cool. Then to wrap us up, we've got Electrocoin, ref 1376 on the Medium Spin the Track. This was rejected, and this was for 334,000 USDT for Quit, a mobile payment wallet. And that's all the refs come by.
Nice. Quick note on Quit. This was that situation where the previous proposal, it was discovered that it was not yet delivered, and then this kind of swung this ref. I think they might build this out anyway and maybe come back later, so might not be the last time we hear about that, but good lads, and they were on the show. Thank you very much, Limo. We're going to roll into some presentations now, starting with, title of the show, Volmex Protocol, integration with Polkadot DEX ecosystem. This is for 375,000 USDT. Pretty new ref, sitting at 34.4%. And this is notably the first, I think, piece that we've seen from Transistor in OpenGov. So we got Peter, Yoon, and who else on the show? Is it Cole?
Hey, Jay, this is Cole from Volmax. Great to be here.
Nice to meet you, and welcome to the show.
Nice to meet you.
Thanks, Jay. Yeah, we were also very involved with Spencer and the Billfold work and continue to support that work as well. But yeah,
indeed, yes.
Happy to introduce Cole, the CEO of Volmex. His first time back in the Polkadot ecosystem since his original jaunt when he was working at the time at stakes.us around launch times. When I originally met Cole, I think at a meetup here in New York. And yeah, he was one of the original guys like helping with getting the staking ecosystem up and running around Polkadot back in 2018, 2019. So happy to bring him back to the ecosystem now. He's been working hard since then on his own company, on his own project, Volmex. And yeah, so we're excited to talk about what they plan to bring to the Polkadot ecosystem. And while we can't name any names yet, we are aware that there's at least one and probably two Perps trading products coming to various dexes and chains in the Polkadot ecosystem. So now is absolutely the time to get someone like Cole and his team working on integrating their product with the Polkadot ecosystem, because as Cole explained, his product is very, very beneficial to Perps traders. Cole, take it away.
Thanks, Peter. Great to be here. So I'm Cole. I'm the founder and CEO of Volmex Labs. As Peter mentioned, I have been around the Polkadot ecosystem since about 2019. I was the second employee at stake.us, which is now part of Kraken. And so it's actually involved with the Polkadot mainnet launch, helped write, a bunch of content for them back in the day about staking, and helped get a lot of whales, staking with stakes back in the day. And so, I was early in the Polkadot ecosystem, and I think that what you guys are building is great, and we'd love to get more involved. So at Volmex, I'm going to share my screen and do a quick presentation. So at Volmex, we build the leading Bitcoin and Ethereum volatility indices. And so in the US equity market, there's a very famous index called VIX, which is the fear and greed index, or the fear index created by CBOE, which is sort of this canonical crypto volatility index standard in the equity market. We've built something very similar for the Bitcoin market called BVIV, which is the Bitcoin Volmex Implied Volatility Index. We also have another flagship index called EVIV and SVIV, which is the Ethereum version and Solana version. And so these indices have been ticking for about 2.5 years. We are the top result on TradingView for this type of product. And so if you go to TradingView and you search for
Cole, we're losing you on the connection there.
Computer's being a little slow. Oh, really?
You know what? I would stop screen sharing because it's just, I think it's slowing down your machine.
Yeah, definitely. Sorry about that.
Why don't you send the link and I'll show it off maybe?
Yeah, I'm turning my video off. 1 sec.
I would turn the screen share off. Yeah.
Okay, sure.
Yeah. All right, just send that link over. Send that link over and I'll show it on the screen.
Cool. Okay. So
Nice.
here's a couple links.
Cool.
So there's kind of like three things I was going to show. So basically, our indices are the top result on TradingView for the relevant keywords. So if you search for Bitcoin implied, Ethereum implied, and Solana implied, our 8 indices for Bitcoin, 8 indices for Ethereum, and 3 or 4 indices for Solana are the top results. And so TradingView works off a ranking system, keywords, and and so we have the most number of searches for these type of product on TradingView, which is one of the most notable data platforms for market data and crypto and broadly. We also have a nice collaboration with CoinMarketCap. So if you go to coinmarketcap.com/charts, our API powers the volatility section. In the mobile app for CoinMarketCap, we're actually linked. They link to our website, and so these 2 integrations with CoinMarketCap and TradingView have been really lucrative in terms of teaching investors and traders about our product. We've also launched the first perpetual future contract on a volatility index for Bitcoin in collaboration with Bitfinex. And so we have a licensing deal with Bitfinex where we license our data to them in exchange for some economics. And then together we build this volatility index product that they can rely on our index methodology and don't need to build it out themselves, but get to differentiate their product suite. And so Bitfinex notably is a sister company of Tether. And so we've seen a really strong adoption, good product market fit, from exchanges that want to buy our product from us. And so, this type of product is, very negatively correlated in times of fear. And so when the market is fearful, this product tends to always spike. It's a really good tool for hedging, for diversification. So by being early to this emerging vault product sector, I think would be really lucrative for Polkadot DeFi, which, the perpetual landscape is extremely crowded, right? And so by offering this new type of product and being one of the first venues to list it, can be very good for Polkadot in terms of gaining market share in the on-chain derivatives space. And so that's kind of what we do at Volmex. We build the leading Bitcoin volatility index, and we're emerging as kind of this index conglomerate that has a number of different indices under its umbrella. And so BVIV is kind of the main thing, but expanding into a couple other sectors like fixed income indices, AI indices. And so Volmex can be the partner to the Polkadot ecosystem, which helps you guys quickly and easily list new novel markets without an entire build out. And so I think this is a very aligned and synergistic partnership, and we can build something truly big together. So keen to talk more. And the Transistor guys have been great to work with. I think expanding Polkadot into North America is key, right? The US market is really heating up with the advent of the Trump administration, as well as like the IBIT options and the IBIT ETFs. And so by not pushing really hard in the US market with Transistor, I think Polkadot is, at a disadvantage. And so the Transistor guys are doing really important work. And I sit in New York and would love to help accelerate the retail and institutional adoption of Polkadot-linked products in the US.
Nice. Okay, we have a couple minutes here. Sounds cool. Tommy.
Hey, thank you for bringing the proposal forward. I would say in general, it's good to have such indices when we when we want to grow the DeFi space in Polkadot.
Sure.
So in general, having such access to such kind of indices is good. One practical issue is that we also had in the past is when a proposal was coming forward, and then part of the proposal was there is something else happening in the ecosystem, and our proposal is related to that, and it is important, but we cannot say it yet. What you can do as a mitigation is maybe bring other people in the ecosystem forward that sort of can say, we also cannot say it, but we can vouch with our name that what you say is sort of legit, right? So bring more people forward that can actually speak for you.
We're working on a plan for that. It would, it would a plan that's like everyone knows who it would be very easily based on who we bring forward. So it's like obviously a major player. So we're working on that, but we understand that it's a difficult piece of the proposal to sort of like, it's sort of a trust me bro, even though it's not a trust me bro. But we can bring forward some other folks, I think, who can back this up. And as mentioned before, like there's a good amount of integration work that needs to be started before anything's even live on the actual DEXs side.
Yeah, what you can do is, for example, maybe involve the people from the DeFi and infrastructure bounty, or some other like trusted members of the community, and then you can let them sign an NDA if you want, and then they can look at it and say, okay, I've looked at it and it looks good.
Yeah, I can have Nico and Velocity Labs
to create more trust around this.
Yeah, I think we'll set up a call with Velocity Labs.
Other than that, I would like to see something like this happen in Polkadot, and I will have to look a little bit deeper if I'm voting on it. Thank you.
Thanks, Tommy. Yeah, I totally agree. I think that it's safe to say that any flourishing on-chain ecosystem is going to have a robust perpetual futures offering, and so I see that coming to Polkadot, and Volmex can help differentiate that and accelerate this initiative. And so I think it's just a matter of time until there's obviously one, but many perpetual futures offerings on Polkadot, which we'd love to support. So yeah, excited about this.
Yeah. Another element of this work that isn't, very explicitly defined in the proposal, because we're already sort of doing it to get to enable this anyway, is bringing more stablecoin liquidity to Polkadot in order to support a product like a perpetuals exchange. So we're working on that in the background with folks at Parity and elsewhere. And then, as Cole mentioned, they have this really strong partnership with Bitfinex. And I'm not going to put words in his mouth, but they want to see USDT grow. So there's potentially an opportunity there for them to pump more USDT into Asset Hub, so that something like Cole's product has the liquidity it needs to operate.
It's cool. Yeah, I think that vouch from a team in the ecosystem would be, would send this over the top, and hopefully we can hear from that soon.
Yeah,
That's a good
I'm
idea,
pretty
Tommy.
certain I can get Nico from Velocity Labs to take a look at what we're claiming and back it up that it's actually happening without naming any names.
Okay, yeah, that'd be important. Nice. Okay, we're at time right now, but welcome to come back on the show anytime, Cole. It's nice to meet you. Peter, have you taken the hat off since Sunday?
What do you mean? Since the fucking awful Kansas City Chiefs lost? No, I have not. I didn't have it on since the Ravens loss, and then I put it on the day of the Super Bowl and haven't taken it off since. Schedules were announced, and the Ravens seem to have maybe the hardest schedule in the history of the NFL next season. It's going to be miserable.
What's going on? Who's paying who here? Right, nice to see you.
Appreciate it.
Nice to see you back, eh?
Yeah.
And nice to meet you, Cole.
Great to meet everybody. We'll be in touch. Looking forward to supporting the Polkadot ecosystem, building something big together. Cheers, guys.
Cheers. Okay, we now throw it over from one spicy pan to the next. We have Yubo. Yubo, are you still there? Hey, what's up, Yubo?
Yeah, I'm here.
We're back
Hi.
with emergency response plan for securing 200,000 DOT. I think this is part one of 2 refs, but this is the second time.
Yes.
Yeah, maybe you could catch us up, because we already passed a ref about this. What's going on?
Yeah. So a lot of things happened after. First of all, thank you so much for the community support last time.
Yeah.
We passed the referenda, but the attacker did something right after the referenda. So he was able to add a proxy to his own wallet. At the same time, froze a very large amount of Paratoken under our new sudo key.
Yeah.
Which means effectively we can't vote, and then the attacker still has the access, and he actually initiated a rebound unbound of the 200K DOT and tried to transfer out to his wallets. So that's what actually happened. And then, so now, in the last couple of 2 weeks, we've been working very diligently on a new proposal. At the beginning, we were thinking about having some, we're working with parity, and then we try to actually restore the new Sulu key, remove all the proxies on our Parachain, and make sure we can have free transaction, etc. However, we realized that this is not going to work. And I also don't want to leak too much details. Maybe the attacker is listening. But the conclusion is that we have to do something on the relay chain, unfortunately. And then in order to secure those dots that belongs to the user. Therefore, we propose this new referendum. And then generally what we're trying to do here is, I would say pretty straightforward. We're doing 3 steps. The first step is we are effectively disable everything on the chain, on our Parachain, so break the chain. And then the second step is that we remove all the proxies on the relay chain, including those 6 derivative accounts from our sovereign account, as well as our, obviously, the sovereign account itself. And 3, we force and stake all the current token, and then force transfer to a very important non-controlled account, which I can explain a bit. And then number 4 is that if we add a rebound transaction as a fallback case at the end of the day. We grab all of that into a batch, a force batch, and then I think maybe I can share very quickly. So actually, I'm not sure if I can share. 1 second.
Yeah.
Oh, actually, I can share.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice.
I saw that. So this is the transaction decode. This is the hash, right? You guys can actually verify from this. There's a call data link. If you just click on this, you'll see it. So on a high level, we have this. On a outer level, we have this utility force batch, and then as we described, the first step is to make sure the chain actually don't do anything. So we set the code to be 0. We set the current head to be 0, as well as we remove the lock. This is because we want to make sure we have the the manager account of the Parachain 2012 to be able to have access to the chain afterward. So those are the 3 steps for the objective number 1. And then the objective number 2 is to remove all the proxies that the attacker has added. Here we're doing in those transactions. So we remove proxy from our sovereign account. We remove proxy from 6 out of the actually, sorry. So because the sequence is a little bit different. So here we remove the proxy, and then we do unstake, and then the force transfer, and then we repeat, and then we rebound for that address. And then what we did is we just repeat the whole thing 6 times. You can see here is we remove proxy 6 from 7 different accounts, and then we force transfer from 6 different accounts to the non-controlled addresses. And then how do we generate that? I want to explain. This address, starting from 1 to P, we don't have a private key, and the reason is because we actually use the code. And this is not done by us. We have to accredit our partners, and they're helping us a lot. And as you can see, this address is indeed generated from a ASIC message, essentially parallel recovery accounts. We just give a name of that, and then if you run the code, you're supposed to get the exact same address. So the goal here is to idea is to have a second proposal. So we write it here. We'll have another proposal to explain how we want to make sure that we distribute those funds to back to the chain, hopefully, and then so the users can claim based on their S dot holding. So there are 2 steps, and then the reason we do that is because we don't have too much time to do 2 steps at the same time. Otherwise, the funds will be out to the attacker's address. In fact, the attacker already transferred around 2,000 to 3,000 dots. Unfortunately. at the beginning of the actually at the end of the previous right after the previous referenda. So yeah, I am I do want to say that this is unfortunately another emergency. We try our best, but unfortunately the previous referendum didn't. We failed to consider that there are some edge case. Therefore, we do this force transfer this time to make sure we 100% secure the funds for the user. Yeah.
Gotta hand it to the hacker.
Yeah.
Okay, sounds good. Thanks for showing that off. Do we have any questions about this or concerns or thoughts? Gonna have the root track tied up with this for another 2 months, I guess, eh? So yeah.
Well, I think for this one, the main thing is we need to make sure enough people vote on it, right? There's quite a lot of turnout already.
Nice.
We need more. Time is of the essence. So if you have DOT, please vote aye on it.
Wow, 256.5 million DOT power.
Yeah, the support percentage is like what 12-13%. Previously we've had like 15%. But obviously inflation changes some of it. But yeah, if you have DOT, you should vote aye on this.
Very good.
Cool. Thank you.
Hey, Raul, I know you're working closely on this project here. What's the process of like verifying that this is all? It seems very complex.
Yeah, so we work with the team in verifying that the calls work as expected. The team has used chopsticks to test in an environment before, and we've had help also and advice from Parity and Web3 Foundation developers to make sure that what the team wants to do in order to recover this actually works. So, for example, for those people that are not so technical in this call, the suggestion of a force badge call instead of an all badge call was a suggestion of the teams advising on what to do to the Parallel Phi team. The suggestion of the third call and to do this to divide this plan into 2 proposals, as well as to create an account that does not have private keys and no one owns, is all advice from these teams that were talking to the Parallel Phi team before.
Great. Okay, well, we're at time, and I just want to say thanks to Parity and anybody else working on this for putting their resources into recovering this bad situation. So thanks very much, guys.
Also, special thanks to SR Labs, and obviously Parity. They have been spending countless hours on this proposal. Much appreciated.
Yeah, indeed. Thanks for coming on, Yubo.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Alrighty. Okay, this is exciting. Peer 3, we had them on a couple times in discussion phase, so lots of discussion on this. And Luca, back on the show for, it turned out to be 600,000 DOT and, 600,000 USDT and 30,000 DOT. Not many votes to speak of here, but welcome back to the show. What's going on?
Yeah, so we made a referendum like 2 days ago. So far, not that bad for my first week in OpenGov. Up until today, I think we had like 95% in favor, and we're winning with the popular vote, but still like not a lot of people voted. So yeah. So there's also a little bit of pushback from guys at Ayuna. I'm not sure why, but like the entire conversation is on Polka Assembly, so it's in the public domain, so everybody can read our opinions back and forth.
That's interesting.
Like there's also one more comment that was made that some guy didn't really understand, like in the DAO, why is this like important and relevant? Let me just share the screen, entire screen, I guess. So, and wait. Yeah, this is good, I think. Yeah. So the DAOs, the KUS made a really good 1.5 minute highlight. I'd recommend everybody to take a look at this. And last time when I gave this presentation, I had a pop-up on Google Meet here. So I just want to reiterate this slide. So this gives a visual explanation to everybody like what we're really trying to achieve. So on the left-hand side, like you have things like normally executing on blockchains that are slow. You wait like 30 seconds on Polkadot. In this case, it's like 15 seconds. And on the right-hand side, you have everything running with our SDK in real time. And this is the user experience we want to have. Like this is the user experience that people in the Web2 world are used to. And now we want to wrap this user experience with all of the Web3 primitives. So yeah, like that's in short. I want to have like more time to answer questions because last time and the first time, many people, I was mostly presenting. So this time I want to see if anyone has like more questions or.
Good idea. Let's open it up.
Yeah.
Questions, comments, concerns, confessions. The Ayuna comment here is they're saying that they've actually attempted something like this. They also went through the Web3 Foundation grant program to the highest level, and they said that there is trade-offs with collusion, resolution speed, and dispute handling. Maybe you could just reply to that here.
Yeah, so we made all of the comments like public. Initially, they didn't vote, and then they voted abstain. And after I think our last comment, we struck a nerve, and then they just like voted 6x conviction nay.
Okay.
We spoke with the team that did their implementation, and we are fully aware. And we have like regular syncs with Nicholas. It's the co-founder of Ayuna, and we know like on the tech side what they did a couple of years back. The main difference is like what we are pushing is we're not pushing any more node software. We're not pushing server-side scaling. We're really pushing for client-side scaling and enshrining the crypto economics around the client. And I would say that's the biggest difference. For now, we are naming it state channels because like it has some elements of state channels, but it's really a protocol that is something in between state channels and rollups. You can really think about it as peers, like our devices connecting directly with one another and running a rollup between them. But the reason we're not calling it a rollup is like rollups and in general scaling blockchains, they have to prove correctness to third parties.
Right.
And in our case, we're only proving correctness within the group of peers that are within the channel. So that was mostly going back and answering their questions on how the dispute system works and all of that. Like everybody, you can read over the comments. Like it closely resembles how Polkadot does its execution sharding with elves. So yeah, I think like we're confident in all of the answers we gave there, and in general the tech and everything, and in the use cases.
Okay, so Ayuna voted nay. I don't know who's behind the that Ayuna account actually, but anyway, that account voted nay with 6x conviction. But we're still waiting for DVs to come in. They will be rolling in, and what, maybe by Monday or Tuesday, and we'll get a good picture of how this stands.
Yeah.
Anybody else have a comment about this or question? No. Your co-founder Jeff is going to be on Space Monkeys this Sunday.
Will you ask him?
What's that?
Will you ask him questions?
It was already recorded, so I didn't ask him questions about this, but it was actually more of an interview where, you know, we just kind of explored his mind, and I did the final edit last night. Honestly, it's really good, so I think everybody should check it out.
Yeah.
Definitely some brains behind this project.
Yeah. So I'll be here like in the next 3 weeks, so just keep the questions rolling and post them wherever. So hopefully we'll address all of them. We'll also try to get more people from the team to talk about the use cases and stuff. So yeah, see you next week.
Good. Thank you for coming on, Luca.
Yeah, no worries.
Okay, rolling on to another ref that we had in discussion and on the show previously. This is the Polkapulse DeFi dashboard for Polkadot Parachains, and this is 78,000 USDC. This just opened 4 hours ago, so we have 5 votes on the nay side. We'll see if they can recover. Akash, welcome back to the show.
Thanks, Jay. Quick recap of what we pitched last week. Polkapulse is now officially up for voting, like you mentioned. Last week we were here just to gather some feedback from the community. And the community had 3 quick questions. I'll get to the questions before a little later. I just want to walk everybody through the proposal. I'm just going to share my screen and go through what we presented last week, just as a quick recap. Won't spend too much time on that. Just let me know when my screen is visible.
Yeah, you're good.
Awesome. So before we got into this particular project, we spoke with a few important parties within the Polkadot ecosystem. We spoke with Tommy, we spoke with the Parity team, we spoke with Eric from Distractive, and all of them mentioned one clear problem, which is DeFi Llama is not the best place for DeFi data on the Polkadot ecosystem and for several parachains on Polkadot. We decided to build a specific hub, and we're calling this Polka Pulse. Polka Pulse will have 2 main parts. One is a parachain activity dashboard. We will include parachains in a phased manner. We will start with the more DeFi-centric ones and then go into sort of the deepen ones. And we will also have a DeFi yield opportunity dashboard. Like I mentioned last week, this is very similar to what Vaults.fyi has done for the Ethereum ecosystem, where people can search on an asset level where they can deploy their assets to earn some sort of yield. Within the Parachain activity dashboard, this would be sort of the macro dashboard, which would have at one glance what parachains are accruing, what transfer volume, TVL, etc. And we'd have certain general metrics like accounts, events, transfers, and the rest. We'll also have specific metrics which are different for different parachains. We've listed down a few here. We will link all of these presentations in Polka Assembly as well as Subsquare, as well as this particular chat, so you guys can check them out on your own time and add any metrics that you'd like here. These are all the metrics on a page-by-page manner. The DeFi yield opportunity dashboard will start with these parachains, and then we'll move on to the rest. Again, we'll talk consistently with these particular teams before finalizing the endpoints on each. But we would ideally like to have direct endpoints rather than rely on a third-party indexer like Doom or Flipside, because those aren't the best long-term. This is the budget that we're pitching for. It's also broken down on a milestone basis, which my colleague Vivek, who's also on this call, will add in the chat. This is the timeline that we foresee. We foresee somewhere around a 16-week period, but we've added 2 weeks for a good buffer time. And of course, we'll have 2 check-in milestones with the team where we'll come on this call again to share our initial V1s. We've built similar dashboards like this previously. For Compound, we did it on an asset level for USDC and ETH deployment. For ICP, it was at a DAO level. For Eigenlayer, it's at several levels, from delegators to delegations to operators and AVSs. And the below 2 are mostly reports, but they were done with extensive data. We've also done this for several other companies, and we're fairly backed. So we have some amount of pedigree. We do only data and research. So this is our forte. And we'd like to do this within the Polkadot ecosystem. I can just stop sharing my screen now and get back to the call, so that if you guys have any more questions, just stop sharing. Yeah. If you guys have any questions, I'm happy to answer it. Just as a quick recap, last week, there were 3 main questions that were posed. One was about Moonbeam, about whether we'll integrate smart contract related data or DeFi related data. I think we'll start with DeFi related data and then move on to the rest. The second was, I think, Jay, you mentioned that there was a deprecated dashboard, which you shared the GitHub repo for. We're going through that and trying to see what best we can already build from that. Nice. And the third question was about data visualization. Every metric that we have will have at least a chart broken down on a daily, weekly, monthly, quarterly, 6-monthly basis, so you can see trend over time. We'll try to get as much historical data as possible, but of course, from here on out, everything will be recorded. In terms of data updation, we will start with weekly on Mondays at 5 p.m. UTC is what we generally follow, but that will try to get shorter and shorter. We go from weekly to about once in 3 days, we update to weekly to daily, and then as quickly as possible. Yeah, happy to answer any questions that you guys have. And also, we would love your support on the online forums.
Okay, yes, let's open it up to questions or comments. Anybody? Tommy?
Yeah, just a quick question. From the portals that you have already built, do you have the numbers of how much they are used?
Yeah.
It is used by specific parties. So the ones that are on a macro basis, like the Arbitrum RWA dashboard, we don't own the URL for that. When we build the data, we give it to the party, and they have, like, let's say the web traffic data. I'm not able to give you an answer of that. But what I can say is, whenever we build dashboards for specific parties, the volume on that from a pure web traffic point of view is not the largest. It won't compare to something like a coin market cap or even a DeFi Llama, because those are fairly larger macro dashboards. Specific ones get fairly less traffic. I would say on a number of 1/10 or 1/20th the volume, if that, of the larger players. But that is just an assumption, because we don't own the web traffic data. When we build the dashboard, we give it over to the particular person. Although I can probably give you that answer once we build out Polkapulse, hopefully, and then do a 3-month updation on the web traffic data.
Mm-hmm. Cool. Anybody else? Okay, then I got a quick question here.
Sure.
I'm looking at the proposal here, DeFi Yield Opportunity Dashboard. For the DeFi Yield Opportunity Dashboard, we'll start with the following 5 networks as the scope of the proposal. Yeah, I just want to challenge this a bit because I'm not sure it's making sense. First of all, I don't see hydration anywhere in this proposal, which is the largest DeFi protocol in the ecosystem by a long shot, I think. So,
Got it.
Yeah, that
So
would be.
when we initially picked that, we wanted to do it open. I spoke with Pavla from Parity. She mentioned do this in a phased approach. Have those 5 protocols there first, and then expand it further. But if this is something that you'd like to expand further in and include hydration, happy to do that.
Okay, so you're saying you got that advice. So hydration is the biggest DeFi protocol in the ecosystem with the most activity, most volume, most TVL. It is the DeFi hub of Polkadot at the moment. And then also on this list, you have Polkadot as first, but I think there's no DeFi activity on Polkadot, right? So there's
we were specifically looking at parachains within Polkadot. I think that flowchart was supposed to be seen in a better way. Yeah.
Okay.
My bad on that.
Yeah, and then you have a star. I'm not sure about the DeFi activity on the Star parachain right now. But anyway, maybe there's some research on the landscape of the of DeFi and the ecosystem that might be done here to make sure that we're getting the highest value, highest potential traffic integrated first.
Got it.
I would say hydration is the biggest, and then Akala would be second biggest. I think Bifrost actually maybe second biggest, but those are the top 3 for sure. And you can see that by maybe XCM transfer volume. Like these things are probably really useful to check out. But yeah, I would definitely look really deeply into that. And then Moonbeam and their EVM DeFi ecosystem is up there too. Those are definitely the biggest.
Got it. We'll definitely revisit that.
Nice. Alrighty. Any other questions or comments? Cool. All right. Well, nice opening here. We'll see you again.
Yeah, hopefully.
Yeah. Okay. Good. Yeah, you're welcome back anytime. Okay.
Thanks, Jay. Thanks, everyone.
Nice. All right. 2 more. We're going to revisit some refs from last week. I think we have an update from the guys at Brave. This is the 3 million USDC proposal, and they've gotten a lot of feedback. We've got James and Carlos here. Welcome, guys. And yeah, I think you have some new information for us. So welcome back to the show.
Yeah, I appreciate it. Thanks for the time again. Great to see everybody. We're just here really to give a big update. I haven't made an update on the full proposal on OpenGov, but I wanted to come back in the spirit of transparency with our head of Web3 and Wallet, James Mudgett, that maybe can address maybe some of the nuanced engineering questions. I can say that for the last week, we've been meeting with some partners in the ecosystem, have been very nicely volunteering their time to help us. Jakob has been very nice to kind of give us some feedback. And so with these in mind, I also reached out, they reached out to us, spoke with Alex from Web3 Foundation, Parity Web3 Foundation. So, while obviously no one is going to, endorse fully, I want to let you all know that there are full open lines of communication here to try to tailor a proposal that can do well, in addition to the fact that no matter what the outcome is, the channels have now been open to see what the next steps will be, whatever the community decides. So again, I don't want anybody to think that their comments were lost. We took them in. We are reformulating, but I haven't made the update in OpenGov yet because I'm still kind of like just getting all of them together, and then we'll create a new big update in OpenGov and then kind of mark it all there and then answer all the questions. I didn't want to do so prematurely.
Okay, nice. That's great. Yeah, I'm looking forward to. I mean, I'm hearing rumbles about the next step, and it's sounding positive. Really cool.
Yeah, there were some, some of the specific points and questions in engineering and such that were made. Maybe I didn't explain it as fully as I should have. But again, with proposals like this in the past, we kind of give a high level, but we're not doing a B2B thing with an entity. We're doing with the DAO. So, generally we would just submit something like we did, and then we would kind of go back and forth to do it. But given and understanding this is a different process, and with that process, we can go in and be a bit more granular in terms of what everything's going to do.
That's awesome. So do you think you're going to keep riding this ref, or are you going to submit a different one instead? What
No,
do you think?
the goal here, and I'm hoping by Sunday latest, would be hopefully maybe Monday morning, but Sunday latest or Monday morning, to have a reviewed new proposal that I would hope would address all of the comments and concerns that were very charitably given to us, to improve that, so that it has a better chance of gaining the approval of the community.
Okay, great. Okay, so we should just hold tight, eh?
Yeah, but I wanted to come here, just give that update, obviously, to the community, and then in addition to bring James on, should there be any other questions that maybe engineering, could, address.
Cool. James, did you just want to introduce yourself to start?
I'm James Mudgett. I've been at Brave since 2016, so currently the VP of iOS and Web3. And I'm happy to go through, let's say, Rory's comment on the proposal. I think justifying 3 million seems insane, considering, I know most wallets can utilize some of the JavaScript tools. What I've been explaining with Jakob Panik is basically Brave is built off of Chromium. None of the wallet code can access, so none of the wallet code front end can access network calls. It forces us to push everything through C++, Rust, etc. And we just have some very high standards in terms of privacy security. So there's quite a big, extensive review process on any dependencies to avoid supply chain attacks, various other challenges. But what ends up happening is Brave ends up having to rebuild a lot of stuff, maybe even port over some common JavaScript library into C++ to get it to work to our standards. So it's a lengthy process. This isn't something where we're kind of building an extension, or we have an extension as Web3 wallet. It's really a natively integrated tool, and our bigger plans are to make Brave multi-chain. The way I see it personally is that multi-chain support is basically web compat support. So as different blockchains expand their ecosystem of DeFi or tools, NFTs, tools that can be used via, authorization for unlocking wallets, unlocking accounts. Example of this would be sort of the Poly market rose up as, kind of like a hybrid app where you're using Web3 really to kind of fund your, to sign in and then fund your account. So it's really a web compatibility challenge that Brave has. And so we've been integrating Zcash, which is more privacy payment stuff, but we've got Solana. We're working on Cardano currently. We've got EVM support. We think Polkadot has is in a unique position as well. I realize there's a lot variations in parachains, and we can definitely do more to clarify which ones we could support out the gate. But we'd be seeing this as a 2-year commitment to making sure that we're maintaining this code base. It's obviously all open source on GitHub, and we'll continue to contribute. We've already contributed to several EIPs. We've got a current ZIP for Zcash currently in proposal to expand to do things with IPFS and Filecoin. So yeah, I think it brings a lot. We try to bring a lot to the table and put put all our best foot forward, at least in every opportunity that we see where we want to collaborate with another blockchain. Yeah, thanks.
Awesome. Nice to meet you. Thanks very much for coming on. Love Brave. Just checking now, since I got my new computer, I saved over 24 hours. I guess that's what your startup page shows me.
Thanks, yeah.
If time, yeah.
Appreciate it.
Cool. Any questions or comments for the guys while we have them here? Yeah, Robert. Hey, welcome back, Robert.
Hey, thanks for the overview, James. I had some questions. So your proposal, I just saw the subscript post. You don't have a full proposal linked anywhere with technical details, or am I wrong? Maybe I missed something.
Yeah. So there is an initial milestone to kind of deep dive again, like because it does require so many different individuals to get involved when we do an integration. It can't, that initial step where we're like, it's like the discovery phase. We're essentially going through like every library we could possibly use, even discussing with other people that are prominent in the community to understand like what tech they're using as well. But so we look for the best libraries, then we try to we have to look across like other parts of the org too. So first, everything goes through like security privacy review, which also starts with pulling core resources. When it comes to like adding more dependencies, it can be a challenge because you're having to compile Chromium, but you're also having to like continuously rebase against the Chromium project to make sure that you're up to date on all the security stuff. So adding new dependencies is always challenging, and we find like we end up having to just like build raw code in to C++, re-engineer almost all of these different libraries. So there's the initial proposal. I think we kind of rushed, maybe could have spent a little bit more time on some of that initial discovery phase, but I think the gist of it's there. And then what Collis plans on updating is going to be like adding more details, specifying that a lot of this code is C++. The majority of it will be. We'll try to reuse what we can, and then whatever else we end up having to do will end up becoming part of the open source code base.
Okay, thanks. So the C++, you mentioned that you need to migrate your, may have to migrate your TypeScript to C++. That's specifically for Chromium. That doesn't, whatever that is, Polkadot specific.
Yeah, so the front end of the website of the wallet is actually Web UI. So Chromium has within it Web UI, but it's sort of sandboxed in a way that no network outside network calls are being made through that front end. So we used Mojam API calls, which interface with Core. So it's a very restricted environment where the client itself can't just take in like a JavaScript dependency and then make calls directly through that JavaScript dependency. So because it's in C++, we end up having to rewrap or write calls and then sanitize anything that's coming through the network before we're passing it back into the wallet. And this just adds like this extra level of security. On top of that, we do things like we have Brave, any L1 chain or even some of the L2s that we load by default. We run our own nodes, usually through a third party, but then we also proxy those nodes. So all of the default preferences for RPCs are going through Brave proxy. We strip IP addresses. So we try to take pretty extensive measures to make sure everything's like, privacy is like our core ethos. So it's like, that's what we try to play here. Does that answer your question? Maybe I'm.
I don't know, Robert, we seem to have lost you. Let's we're running out of time, so let's throw it to Michael.
I was just going to put a vote of support behind the concept of doing a deal or a relationship with Brave. Like don't know the technical details, and I don't know whether or not it's this particular ref or whether or not a variation of it that gets passed. But like for someone who tries to talk to people about this ecosystem, I think what's worse than having FUDs is just not being talked about at all. And I think for us to not be included in the cohort of chains inside the Brave browser would be a travesty. So I would like to see some sort of deal get passed, whether it's this or a variation of it in some form. I think is an essential thing for our ecosystem. And we don't want to chase away big players like we may have done the start of this call.
Yeah.
Thank you,
6.
Michael. That's very nice of you to say. We appreciate that.
Yeah. Please stay with us, guys. Jose.
Yeah, in principle, I like, basically your solution. Now, this question is basically, where do you see this product going, really? What's going to be the end result? We'll be able to basically access Polkadot.js information in a simple way through your browser. Is that what is being already said? Or, people is not using Polkadot.js because it's just too complicated, right? It's just a developer tool, right? So it's like I seen that you have a staking and you have NFT implementation and you have all these different parachains now. What is the vision on that? What are you going to supply at the end? Is it going to be like an interface?
I think we got the question here. Let's get the answer because we're running out of time.
Yeah, I mean, just like we have the Web3 support throughout, Solana, EVM, etc. So you're imagine visiting any website that requires wallet connection to be able to create an account, and it's based off of Polkadot. You'd be able to use Web3 connection to interface with it, or signing transactions on DeFi. So any other DEXs, whatever, you could without installing like additional wallets as extensions, you just have Web3 support for Polkadot out of the box with Brave.
So if anybody on the call or anybody watching is using Brave right now, top right corner next to that little VPN symbol, just 2 over, there's a little wallet icon. If you click that, I think that's what we're talking about here, right, guys?
Yeah,
that's right.
Yeah, cool. All righty. Thank you for the question, Jose, and thank you everybody for participating. We will see you guys soon with the updated proposal.
Yep, sounds good. Thanks, guys.
Thank you. All righty. Oh yeah, one more. Oh, this is kind of interesting. So G2 Esports, the fine-tuned and dedicated onboarding strategy for Polkadot for 495,000 super valuable DOT network tokens, has got 65% support. That's awesome. 3 days, 3 minutes till it enters confirmation, and that will be a 7-day confirmation period. Guys, welcome back to the show. What's the latest?
Thank you for having us. Today I'm here again with Moon, Sabrina, and Rich to talk a bit more about the proposal. For the last two attendances that we had here, we were presenting quite a lot. So today we were thinking we would give more space to the questions that sometimes we don't have enough time to answer. And quickly before we do that, we wanted to give thanks to everyone that spent some time with us in the last 2 weeks. There were lots of conversations with DAOs, with the ecosystem, and we really felt there's a very good feedback and very valuable feedback. We feel that the path that we chose from the beginning, meaning not a strict proposal where everything is fixed, but doing back and forth and reacting to the needs of the community, really resonated, and it only encouraged us to stay on this path. So we really feel like this is a good way forward. And we definitely see the right path forward, working with Moon and making sure that we deliver on what are the needs not only today but throughout the whole partnership. So when the situation changes and there are some new needs of the community, we can always reflect on it and adjust what we are doing. So it really delivers. So those were kind of the key points that we felt we are going in with, and after the discussions that we had, we are really feeling that this is the right path. So thanks everyone again for all the current conversations. And I'll be happy to hand it over for any questions that might pop up today. And we'll try to do our best to answer.
Great. Anything else to add before we open it up?
No, I think we are good to go.
Cool. Okay, so any questions? Limo.
Hey, so I do have one question. I know you replied to me. I think it's in. So you guys mainly focus on League of Legends, Valorant, and Counter-Strike in this, right? So you did reply to me. I just want to get this publicly. So in Riot Games' document that they sent to you guys about sponsorships, I think it's page 60 or something. There is a section where it says prohibited sponsorship categories, and it's like pornography, gambling, all this kind of stuff, right? And the bottom one is cryptocurrencies. So I think the reply that you put to me was because it's like software, it doesn't count. Can you please clarify that you have spoke to Riot Games to get that yes, Polkadot will not be counted as a cryptocurrency?
Yeah, Sabrina, do you want to take it or shall I?
Yeah, so it's a usual process with Riot. In this case, the information that we've been given, and you've seen it also with the example that I think Andre or Moon shared with Tezos, right? Polkadot wouldn't be judged as a cryptocurrency, but as a blockchain partner. Blockchain is not prohibited. Blockchain as any of the new categories. So every year, Riot starts to open up their sponsorship categories more. Blockchain, I think, was freed up, I think 2 years ago, 1.5 years ago, 2 years ago. So it's still in the part where you have to seek approval. It's a secured security mechanism where you sign up. They do a background check on Polkadot, and then it's greenlit. The only restrictions that we have is obviously we can only activate around our G2 IP. So that's our brand, our players. We could not, I don't know, use a Polkadot logo with an LSC champion or a Valorant agent, right? Because this is Riot-owned IP. This is the only differentiation, and I think the only watch out. Riot, to be honest, has been a great partner for us over the past few years, where even if we have ideas that on paper would not be possible, we always found ways and compromises, right, to realize ideas together. So just count on us. And I think the earlier we plan those things where we know we might be pushing it a little bit, the earlier we can have a conversation with Riot and see how we can realize those ideas, the better.
Good question, Lee. Yeah, please.
Just for the general community, this is like something that I'm going to ask all esports teams because previously there was Method, which is a World of Warcraft esports team, that did tell me in private before they pulled the ref that they were not sure if Blizzard Entertainment would allow Polkadot to sponsor them. And there was another one. And the issue with the Riot thing and why I brought it up is because FTX sponsored Team Solo Mid and the LCS in America. And obviously FTX blew up. So this is probably why they added that. But thank you for the clarification.
Yeah, it was also, this example that you just mentioned was also at a time where there was actually different rules between EMEA and US. Now Riot is harmonizing the guidelines, which makes it easier for everyone involved because obviously our teams perform, especially on international events, they all perform on the same stage, right? So now is the good thing. Now when you look at Valorant, it's the same rule, whether it's NA or Europe. Same for League of Legends.
Good. Thank you. Thank you. Hey, Moonbear, just curious from your point of view, because you're deep into the community here. What brought this to 65%? What do you think changed?
I think what changed was we have done a lot of sponsorships in the past, and we have seen little to no results of it, or at least we don't feel it so much in the community. And I think the sponsorships in the past, they have been well executed, but Polkadot didn't offer the crowds a way into the ecosystem. And with this is the difference that we finally can offer no barrier of entry acquisition funnel that goes actually into the ecosystem. When some fan joins some Activision, he's getting into the ecosystem and he's becoming a user that is also attractable by all the projects in Polkadot. So we can funnel them, we can direct them into certain areas that we can guide, but also because of the NFTs being markers, they are open for every project to attract with incentives and so on. So I think this is the big game changer here, and why this is seen from the community as something very positive, because we all feel that we need more people in the streets, and this is the solution that we didn't have half a year ago, but have now.
Cool. Nice work. All right, guys, thanks very much. We are, like I said, very close to confirmation. Now 2 days, 23 hours. It looks like more eyes came in here. And then 7-day confirmation. Thanks very much. We'll, I guess we'll know about this. Well, we'll be at the very end, possibly, of the confirmation period next week. So we'll check in back then.
Thank you.
Thanks a lot for having us on today again.
Thank you very much.
Our pleasure.
Can I add some minor thing? Can I add something?
Yeah. What's up?
If you read the ref and you think it's a sponsorship, please read it again and get in touch with us. Happy to explain, because it's something new and maybe the title doesn't give it away. So very happy to explain. Not wanting to risk a title, risking this great opportunity for us.
Okay, so just an open call. Doesn't matter if you have a small bag or a giant bag. Take a moment, read the ref. Everybody's open. You can communicate, and yeah, we can find the best solution here. Good call to action.
Exactly.
Thank you,
Thank
Moonbearer.
you. Thank you.
All righty. That concludes the presentations of today's show. And if it hasn't been exciting enough for you, we are happy to announce the newest section of the show. This is the House of Shame. The House of Shame, everybody, taking a look at refs gone by that didn't go so well and looking at what we can learn from them because, you know, every moment is every failure is an opportunity to get stronger and get better. I want to introduce everybody to this fellow. This is all public information. Obviously, you know, we want to make sure, you know, we're abiding by, you know, basic courtesies to, you know, we don't want to dox anybody or anything, but all public information submitted on the original ref. Want to introduce you to Mostafa Fogley. Here he is. Here's his GitHub. And if you go to the agenda in the description on YouTube, you can look at his LinkedIn as well. Unfortunately, I don't have LinkedIn signed in on this browser, so we can't check him out. But he submitted this ref. This was 9 months ago to open source an alternative to centralized Polkadot API gateways and nodes as a service. So he's going to create a new service, an alternative to API, centralized APIs. And he was going to do this for 20,422 DOT. Oh my God. I just imagine that in the money market right now, what we could do with it. That is out of our hands now. And in Mustafa's, we haven't heard from him at all. And in fact, if you look at his GitHub here, looks like contributions stopped about 5 weeks before he received those funds. So this is the first lesson we might have learned, is to actually check if the GitHub was active. That's something we could definitely do in the future. Limo, I'm sure you might have some more information on this situation. What's happening at the dark gov level on this one?
Hello. I linked a Twitter thread.
Yeah.
That's well, the bottom one is Strin Bergman, with a nice little image that says "delivery in progress." So
Yes.
basically, there was a little. If you go all the way to the top, there was a little shit post about people buying HDX. So then this person cut out after, by the way, he had been asked by OG Tracker apparently multiple times to give an update and
Yeah.
they didn't receive an answer back.
Yeah.
Decided to like comment on Lawmix's post.
What?
Lawmix's then replied with that GitHub post that you
Oh my God.
on
Okay.
screen
Whoa, whoa,
with
whoa,
like,
whoa,
is
whoa,
this
whoa.
you?
Whoa, 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 whoa. Hold on. Okay. So OG Tracker, who we pay, you know, I think 600,000 a year or something, you know, it's legitimate amount of money. They
Yeah.
work to review past refs, and they flagged, you know, they have this flagging system for undelivered refs. They flagged Kotal.
Mhm.
Here is Lol McShiz just talking about how everybody's dumping their shitcoins for HDX. I did it myself about 10 days ago. So happy. But then Kotal out of nowhere says, why are they dumping tokens to participate in governance? Fuck Chaos DAO. And then Lol McShiz, sorry, pick up the story here. I just wanted to make sure we had that.
Yeah, so the moment you say that, people are obviously going to look at who you are. So this got flagged recently in QSAN Chaos DAO, I believe, as like a ping. So
Yeah.
this was on people's minds. So Ben obviously remembered that and was like, is this you?
Yeah.
Who hasn't delivered or hasn't actually had any GitHub contributions since like a few weeks before his ref got approved.
Shoot.
So then I obviously replied, is this the guy that rugged? And then he said delivery in progress, even though he has no GitHub contributions. So then I basically said, you've got no deliverables, you're over 3 months late, 0 GitHub activity,
Yeah.
you're not going to tag me. So then he said that he had received money from the foundation, not you, but I'm a dot holder that votes on Polkadot Treasury referendums.
Right,
so,
right.
you know, so then I, you know, politely told him that I don't understand what he's talking about and
Yeah.
linked his referendum where Chaos DAO nailed him, which is why he's upset.
Okay.
And then he said that why am I mad at him not delivering upon his $100,000 referendum?
100,000.
Because apparently Chaos DAO supported dead referendums, which we've never done. We've always nailed or abstained.
Okay.
So yeah, this guy is what I'd call a down bad MFer and potential full rogue.
Ouch. Okay. Well, that's interesting. I didn't know that they were speaking here. Let's get some color here from Robert. Robert.
Just a friendly reminder that scheduling milestones is a thing that is possible, and especially when people don't have any rep. That's exactly what the OG tracker is meant for, to have like a correction mechanism to just cancel them.
And I want to tell everybody, I am currently paid by the PIF to help people with governance, like I did with, I think it was Vitality.
Yeah.
And Robert here actually helped me verify that I know what I'm doing with scheduled payments. So if you need help with any of that, please DM me. I will gladly help you do that. Because yeah, if you have no reputation, getting a lot of money up front, I don't think it's going to fly. Because you get people like this guy that just doesn't do anything.
Yeah, all the risk on the DAO and no delivery in this case, in so many cases. Okay, so that's a good lesson here. So we learned, if it's over a certain amount, I mean, and it depends on the reputation as well, right? Scheduling payments so that what we can do when we schedule payments, if we saw, oh, wow, 3 months late on milestone 1, we can actually just with, I don't know, I guess a root ref, or what is it, on the same track, but a ref, we can just bring it
It'd
back.
be on the same track. So
On the
I
same
actually
track,
did
okay.
a video about this. So if you search my YouTube channel, you can find a video guide on exactly how to cancel scheduled payments.
Nice.
It's pretty easy. Or if not, again, DM me and I will help you craft that extrinsic to cancel a payment.
Good. Okay. What else can we learn here? Anything else?
Don't say fuck Chaos DAO if you've grifted the Treasury.
Definitely not going to win you any favors. I mean, the only reason why I maintain a good relationship with anybody from Chaos DAO is I'm afraid, and I'm not going to be, out here.
It's
I
the
guess
only
I
reason
am
I'm
out
from
here
the
actually.
is the main media. I've got to be careful, right?
Raul Tool. Yeah, exactly. Oh yeah, that's true too. Yeah, the only reason I have friends is because I run the couth. Nice. Okay, well, look, you can look into this fellow here. It looks like the funds are lost. We don't really have any pursue people locally system set up yet, but it might be interesting to eventually, I mean, down the line, get some procedures, set up. Yeah, Limo.
A quick one. If this person is quite active on Twitter because they've been liking my posts, I guess hate liking. If you're watching and you want to immediately prove that I'm wrong,
Clearly,
you should just merge whatever code you have from your private repo to a public repo, so you can just immediately disprove me, which would be hilarious to do. But the fact you haven't done that yet maybe means you haven't wrote any code. But if you want to do that now, it'd be hilarious to do that. So please do that if you have actually wrote some code.
Yeah, I've been known myself to get into flame wars with people, and every time I realize that I must not have enough to do, I should probably get back to work. People have time for this sort of thing. You're either in Chaos DAO or you're doing absolutely nothing. So that's good. So let's check that out. That'd be good. Thanks for that update, Lee. And we will be back with another project to add to the House of Shame next week. Thank you everybody for participating. I did want to say real quick, because we kind of did like a soft launch of House of Pain last week with the Zeitgeist situation. And I told you all that, I'd reached out to the 3 people on the multi-sig that were holding on to the funds to give out milestone-based. Very smart, everybody, that we did that. And that they were, months and months behind. There's 6 milestones, starting with 0. 0 was paid out. Milestone 1 was paid out. That was really the biggest one. And then the curators of those funds hadn't heard anything about milestone 2. Reached out to Logan Seether, who I thought was a CEO of Zeitgeist. He didn't give me any new information. And so I was about to go ahead with this ref that I showed last week, wish for change to return the funds, to instruct the curators to return the funds. And lo and behold, out of nowhere, at the final hour, David, who has taken over the Zeitgeist project, reached out, kind of loosely told me that milestone 2 is actually in progress, still verifying what state that's in. But they did post, Zeitgeist did get a post up here announcing that Logan Seether, Zeitgeist founder and CEO, stepped down at the end of December, and the leadership is laying the foundation, or they want to thank him for laying the foundation. Yeah. Moving forward, David Perry, is stepping in to lead the company and enter the new chapter. So there's some restructuring going on. They say roadmap is stronger than ever. Roadmaps can be strong, but they're really going to double down and focus on, let's see here, empowering organizations and individuals through sophisticated prediction markets to make better data-driven decisions. This refinement, they're doubling down on Futarchy, which is the offer that they gave us in that ref that we discussed. So I think we'll put a pin in that for now. I'm not going to post that Wish for Change ref now, but let's wait for more information. Just wanted to give an update on that. And also, I offered that David to come on the show and talk about the new direction and just clear everything up with the DAO. So, yeah, that'd be sick if we had Futarchy and if we had it as soon as possible. All right, we got some refs on the go here to discuss. Allow the marketing bounty to execute formal contracts through the Polkadot Community Foundation. This has received a decision deposit. Holy moly, who did that? But this is sitting at 80% in favor. Tommy, looking good, I guess. Pretty easy one. Yeah.
Good. I have to say, because people turn to me, but I did this to help the marketing bounty. So I mean, it looks good. I think people will agree. But if there's questions, you can also reach out to the marketing bounty. And yeah, I'm supporting it, of course.
Yeah, nice. We also have Team Vitality here, the other esports team. We don't have anyone from the call there, do we? No. This one's at 0%. And this is over halfway through the decision period. Not sure if this one's going to be turned around. Poke Assembly. Oh, I don't know. Maybe I got a message, but Bavia, did you want to talk about this? This is 100% in favor so far, but not a lot of votes for nearly $1 million USDT.
Yeah, it just went live recently, so we're just here to answer any immediate questions.
Okay.
After the update we made. We had updated our proposal after the first discussion we had on the AAG and the comments we had. And then we went live with the updated proposal. Yes, it's fairly new, so there's not a lot of votes yet.
Yeah, okay. Will you guys come back next week for maybe a greater discussion, or you're welcome to if you wish?
Yeah, sure.
Any questions right now in the current state from the panel? Okay, well, maybe we'll see you next week, okay?
Yeah, we'll be around. And in case anyone has any other questions, they can also drop us a DM or the comment on the post itself.
All right, nice. And the last ref that we previously discussed was the Jam Gray Paper Reader, 21,000 USDC. By that team, I've said a few times I'm a pretty big fan of how they're approaching this relationship with OpenGov. This is 100% in favor right now and going to be entering confirmation period in just under 8 days for that one. Before I go to refs that are confirming right now, any other interesting refs? Yes, Limo.
I need about 10 seconds to find the ref. Let me find it real quick.
Okay.
So if anyone wants to go before me, please do.
Sure. Anybody else? I did see some.
Okay, so
yeah, go ahead.
Ref 146, Polkadot Decoded 2024 post-event report.
Oh, man. I've seen rumbles about this, but I have not got up to date yet. I'm like this, like, okay, go ahead. What's going on here?
Okay. I just linked to image BB thing. Please open that.
Sure.
Okay. So this request was in like February 2024, right? For a set amount of DOT. Get the exact numbers. It's about $1.2 million worth of DOT, right?
That they requested last year.
Yes,
yeah.
Right.
Brussels.
On that image that I just posted, the blue line is the exact day they requested the DOT. And then obviously the blue horizontal line shows you the price. It's like 680, something like that. They received the DOT on the orange line, right?
Oh.
And you can obviously see the price of DOT went up a lot. It's about, let's say, 960, right? I can get the exact numbers. It's going to be in the Chaos DAO feedback.
Okay.
So they had an excess of, it's something like 568,000 euros.
Jesus.
From what they requested when they received the DOT, okay? Now, if I was doing this event and I had a budget of 1.2 mil, and this was my all-encompassing budget, this is for food, drink, whatever, the moment that I then receive, let's say like 1.8 million USD, I'm going to sell the DOT and I've just got a 500, 600k buffer, which then, if anything does come up that's extra, I can use, and then I can send the rest back to the Polkadot Treasury potentially.
Yeah.
Now, they did not do that. And on their referendum, there is a part that says no more waiting. Well, currently it is February 14th for me, at least, so February 13th for most of you. And the price of DOT is 483. But if you look at the chart that I sent, right, there's that bit where it's orange, where the price is quite high. Then it goes down for a bit. Then it goes back up, actually, to a point that's above the place where they got it. And they still didn't sell the DOT. So this top-up request is based on the fact that they didn't sell the DOT when they first got it, which is standard practice, right?
Okay.
They then kept it, and it was like, oh, it's going down. Maybe they had to sell some for some stuff. Then they also didn't sell it in the range between the blue line and the orange line, which is the part where they're like in profit or whatever, right?
Yeah, yeah.
So this top-up, it's about stuff that wasn't in the original budget. Why are you doing stuff outside of the original budget?
Okay.
If somebody is asking you to do stuff outside the original budget, I'm sure people can understand what I mean. Get that person to pay for it, because why are we paying for it? We've already approved the budget. And then if you're in money, sell the token. It's like the most outrageous thing ever that they're asking for, like, what, 250k? When they had an excess at the exact time they got it, that they could have transferred to Kraken and sold the DOT of 568,000 euros.
Right.
This is going to be part of the chaos style feedback. If anybody eyes this, I have no idea what you're doing. They clearly were speculating that first ramp up from the blue line to the orange line was going to keep continuing.
Right.
Then it went down and like, oh, fuck, what are we doing? Then it went up again above the blue line and thought it was still going to continue. It is purely price speculation. This is completely outrageous. And it's also why they shouldn't do future events like the Sub-Zero reset. It should be other people, because this is just absolute incompetency.
If this does pass and we set a precedent for covering gambling bills, I actually will have a huge ref to submit myself. Okay. Yeah, Spence.
I was just wondering who do you think would be good to, like, what organization would be good to run Decoded this year then? Like kind of a tough one to like put together. You need someone who's an event organizer who's also like has the resources to like, is it like distractive, or because they're like more marketing, right? Like, who is it?
WebZero.
Somebody that's transparent about invoices and budgeting, and like, for example, I personally haven't seen the invoices being posted on this referendum. How do I know that stuff wasn't marked up like ridiculously, right? I know how much the beer budget was, and beer is rather expensive, right? I know exactly how much unlimited supply of beer was. So what's the other costs, right? So I think this is like absolutely outrageous that they did this. We obviously need a different event organizer. For example, WebZero that did Sub-Zero is pretty good. I'm sure there's other people, right? Other groups that can do it. But this is just the most diabolical stuff ever. Like, if people eye this, you either haven't read the referendum, haven't read the previous ref and understood when they got the DOT and done that research, or there's something else that I don't even want to go into. I'm hearing that they owe suppliers. If you owe people money, when you have a 568,000 euro excess, you sell it so you don't owe the suppliers. It's not Polkadot's fault that you completely dropped the ball and just didn't sell when you were like over €500,000 in profit. It's the stupidest thing ever. Like, and I'm really like annoyed about this.
Well, I'm glad you put a lot of diligence into this and you know, read between the lines. So thanks for that.
Yeah, to answer my vote is Sub-Zero doing a combined. WebZero doing a combined event in America. I would do like extended, like do Sub-Zero and then follow it up with a more public Decoded in Miami or something at the end of the summer.
Yeah, Miami would be nice.
We got to do America.
This is the year for America.
Fuck yeah. All right, Jose, what do you want to say?
Yeah, totally. There is a lot of people who is hanging there with a lot of expenses, and you know, for sure, this kind of like transaction was someone who was holding on gambling the whole thing, and now a bunch of people is in the hook, right? This is a no, right? I mean, what the heck? Where are we, guys? Come on.
Yeah, it's rough. Lee?
And by the way, if they're gambling, that means that they were hoping not to send any of the money back, because why would you gamble on a 568,000 euro win? You would sell it, cover all your expenses. If there's like another 10 grand, you'd pay that and send the rest back. There is no reason to hold the token and speculate on price unless you were planning to keep the token, right? There's zero reason for it. It is purely just they were trying to keep the money and hope that it went up.
Well, you know,
like, it's ridiculous.
The kind of consensus we were working with at the time, and this was before stablecoins. Another reason why I'm so glad we're in stablecoin land now is that if you received funds that were valued higher than what you requested, you returned those dot back. So in a way, it's like the DAO should have gotten dot back on that if they had, you know, followed through properly. I say we send them a bill for the dot that we should have had. But okay. Okay, let's move on from that. That's a wild situation. This is really exciting. So hey, I'll pull it up in a second, but we showed off the Hyperbridge network on the Koos yesterday, all the networks that are connected to Hyperbridge. And the interesting thing about Hyperbridge, they're connected to all these networks, but really you can only move dot across right now. There's not a lot of tokens that you can work with right now. Of course, they're doing more than just token. They're doing all kinds of information. I think they're sending like ZK proofs from one provider and stuff like that. But anyway, Snowbridge and Hyperbridge are getting together. This was in discussion. This is a big one. This is going to be a big discussion probably. But what do we have? 4 tranches of almost 200,000 dot as liquidity for the dot token in various ecosystems. Some of it over Snowbridge, some of it over Hyperbridge. But this is making the dot token more of a ubiquitous asset across the industry. Obviously, we're pretty isolated here. More isolated than we want to be, I mean. But here's a big one, and I just wanted to show this off. This just entered decision period minutes ago, it looks like. Yeah, this is going to be cool. That's Ref 1439. Oh, and then also next week, Mario, who was on the show, he's going to come back and talk about vehicle data on Asset Hub. So this is actually first time I met him. He was telling me about this car data thing and how it's a big deal, and I was like, it was at PBA, and I was like, oh, this is so cool. You know, a PBA student is so inspired to do this thing, and yada yada, and here he is now actually doing it. And since then, I've heard that the car data situation is messed up. The amount of data that's collected about us from cars is really wild, and all the activities you do in a car, which is not only driving, is all just known and owned by other people. So this is going to be cool when he comes back and talks about this. Anything else we're looking at? Yeah, Lee.
So this one I see Chaos Styles need, but I just want to get people's general thoughts on this, because for the past how long have we done this show for? Like a few years. The like sentiment's gone from this is really good to do, like, and then it's like bad, then it's good. So this is 1411, the Spanish bounty v3. So like I'm kind of, I don't think I voted on this. It's basically, I'm trying to understand where this fits in. So this seems to be for like content creation plus meetups and stuff for Spanish speaking people. Now, again, there's 2 sides to this. So it's like there's like WAG Media and stuff for small content creators, right? There's now this Polkadot Yaps thing for big content creators that do really well. There is the meetups bounty. There's the events bounty. So this, I'm not sure where the Spanish bounty then fits in. And then do we go to like, there's a French bounty, there's a Mongolian bounty, there's a Chinese bounty. Where does this like end? And is this a good use of resources? Are the people requesting funds from this getting not audited, but getting scrutinized enough to make sure they're doing good stuff, right? I'm like really unsure personally. I saw that the Spanish bounty was giving a lot of issuing a lot of child bounties for stuff. So maybe it's good. I genuinely don't know. Does this end in like we have every single language as a bounty that does events, meetups, and content, and then the current events bounty, marketing bounty, and meetups bounty go away? Like I'm really not sure.
Yeah, Jose.
Yeah, I see the bounties like, petty cash basically, like small spending has, marketing bounty and all bigger bounties just, have their bigger space, right? I'm okay, basically decentralize all that per country culture, right? I mean, it kind of makes sense, right? But, this is something that we need to all get into it. I'm good with that.
Cool, thank you. Tommy?
So one thing that Polkadot has taught me is that there is often not one way to do things. So in general, I wouldn't be against having one way of doing things and another way of doing things. It's also one way to prevent a monopolization of a responsibility. But I think Lima's concerns are very right. I would think that maybe the ambassador program is a good point for putting in regional coordination, because you can have coordination for North America, South America, or like the 10 specific countries. And this is how you can make sure that there is sort of the region-specific coordination, and then you can also have language groups there. But then I rather tend to be with Lima and say, go to the marketing bounty, events bounty, or some of those things. But it also depends on how good the team is, because as long as OpenGov is still, I would say, small enough that you can overlook everything, it's fine. But long term, I think it doesn't make sense to have too many different structures.
Yeah, Michael?
I think it would be cool to have a mixture of both. Like, why couldn't the Spanish bounty just go to the marketing bounty and they sit underneath the marketing bounty? And so it's like a bounty under a bounty. But I mean, we haven't done that before. Because it seems like I do get that there's nuance when you've got like different communities. And so,
Yeah, oh yeah.
We're a global community, but we do get centralization of groups. Here in Asia, it's 1:30 in the morning right now, and I'm sitting on AAG because it's the thing to do. But that's probably why we don't have a huge amount of people from this part of the world who come to AAG.
Exactly.
Only weirdos, yeah. And so that was a dig at myself, not at the Asian population. But I think there is some nuance there for specialized groups, but there's no reason why they couldn't report to the greater marketing bounty.
That's a nice nuance point. Yeah, Spence?
I think a lot of I think there's got to be a lot of, everything is so new, so there needs to be a lot of I don't want to say fuck around and find out, but sort of in that same spirit of you sort of need to take people that have conviction, trust them a little bit, measure the results, and then you sort of conform the rules around how maybe a bounty should work. I know there are conversations around North America bounty, and it's sort of okay, well, if we put all the smartest people in the room together that we possibly can, and somebody has conviction or a couple people have conviction on an initiative that they want to run, okay, well, that's sort of the cost of doing business. If you give them a bunch of money and they fuck up, well, then you just don't give them money again. It's pretty much as simple as that. But on the flip side, yeah, I mean, it's hard. You try and go through different avenues. I went through the events bounty for last year's ETH Denver thing, and that was a difficult situation because it wasn't exactly what they typically fund. And this year I went to them for some educational panel stuff and for the music panel, and they didn't want to fund it in the way in which we needed it to be funded. I think in general they were open to it, but so it's it's kind of hard to you have to sort of prove those results. I think that's a better model for success. And like that with the marketing bounty, I'm or not marketing bounty, the events bounty. I was okay, well, I'm not going to do it your way. I'm going to do it the way that I think is going to yield the best outcome. So I'm going to take on the liability of producing the first one to show those results.
Cool.
Then I'll go back to the community and be I took an $80,000 hit on this thing. I need to show you what we've produced from it. And if you find value in it, then we're going to keep doing it, But it's okay if the events bounty doesn't want to support something like that because it doesn't fit within their guidelines, that's totally fine.
Nice, Mike.
I I've got firsthand knowledge of like 3 other ecosystems that all run that model where they have a geographical regional leader and they have a pot of money and they fund geographical stuff. So that's what our competitors are doing. And from my viewpoint from afar, being a Polkadot native person, but still having exposure to these ecosystems, it seems wildly successful and efficient as well. And so while our model is highly more decentralized, and these models probably look more like a tech company than they do like a decentralized DAO, it's very successful and efficient in like building community and structure and like hackathons and, you know, developing grassroots support. And again, people go where the money is, that people go where there's a path of least resistance. OpenGov can be very daunting for someone who's new to this ecosystem.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Raul.
I tend to agree with what Jose said and with what Michael said. I think regional leaders are super important. I think understanding the culture and the idiosyncrasy in order to produce content, to produce events is very, very important. This does not mean that different bounties should have different standards. Maybe we can standardize the process, we can standardize the metrics, right? And I feel like I'm pushed to talk here also because the Spanish bounty curators asked me if I could be the auditor for the activities that they do if the proposal is approved. And I said yes, because I think bounties, in the way they're used now, they're being misused. And that's why I think Jose is right when he says, like, I see bounties as petty money, right? Because they're not being used correctly. They're missing requests for proposal processes in which curators as experts know what is missing in this particular scope of work. They need people auditing what the bounty and what the curators are doing, maybe facilitating communications. For example, if the Spanish bounty wants to also fund events in Spanish-speaking countries or in Latin American region, then maybe the auditor can facilitate the communication with the events bounty to share resources, to understand how the events bounty is doing it, to understand what metrics they use, you know? And this is the connection that auditors should be making between the community in order to standardize processes.
Very, very awesome. Thank you, Raul. And yeah, you know, Michael, I like what you said about bounties coming down from other bounties. I mean, these are just sub accounts of the Treasury, and there's nothing stopping the Spanish bounty from going to the marketing bounty for funds for a specific scope, and then being under the purview of the marketing bounty for those spends. This is good. Bounties are interesting. I'm actually diving into the marketing bounty right now, working with them to on some communications stuff, because there's stuff happening, but they want obviously their clients, which is us, the shareholders, to know about it. So I'm learning a lot. I'll just say that for now, but I'm just getting started, and I'm sure that's happening all over. You know, we have to be careful we don't, you know, become like a bureaucratic, wasteful, corrupt nightmare right away. You know, we should have at least a couple 100 years of independence before we run into that problem. But anyway, anything else we want to talk about ref-wise? Yeah, Tommy.
Not ref-wise, but otherwise maybe.
Sure.
So I'm in Hong Kong next week. There is Consensus Hong Kong, and I have been invited to talk about the Polkadot roadmap. Right. So I've been creating this graphic for 2-3 months in a row now, and yeah, I'm just thinking about how I can make it better. I feel like it can still get like 1000% better. But this is what we have right now, and I'm just capturing ideas if you have any. So I think the thing with the roadmap is the story that we tell here right now is one about the cloud at the hub, and then the specific things here. And the question is, who do we make the roadmap for? And I feel like it's people that are active in crypto, and either are active in Polkadot and would like to understand it better, or they're just onboarding Polkadot and would like to sort of get a grip on everything that's going on. So I wonder what the basic concepts are that we want to relay so that we can prioritize them high.
Yeah, who's your audience on this?
Yeah, as I'm saying, so I would say people that are active in Polkadot, but they say Polkadot 2.0 and Jam and core time, and it's not really clear to them how all of these concepts relate to each other. right? So it's basically intended to create more clarity for people.
Oh, sorry. I'm sorry. I misheard you. I thought you were going to present this in Hong Kong.
I'm gonna present sorry, this is what you mean.
Yeah.
So two groups. The first one is actually jam builders, so that they know what they're building for. And then the second group is people coming to the Polkadot side event.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
So when they come to the Polkadot side event, they're either active in Polkadot or want to get into it, maybe.
Hey, Jose.
Yeah, I mean, this is so granular, I mean, and this is great for basically, developers. And I think that's who you're targeting, right? So, but you know what? I would just go the other way. I would go like 180 degrees the other way, and I would just go for totally simplify, say it in a sentence, each cloud thing. And then if people start asking, you just drill down. But I think this is just way too much for anyone, even developers, right? To get it context and stuff is just kind of hard.
Yeah, this is another feedback that we got. For example, our tech nerds in Parity and their fellowship, for them it's not detailed enough. Then some people say it's way too detailed already. So it's basically creating the same graphic for different target groups so that you can give something to everyone. But maybe having a more zoomed out version first, and then if you want to dig deeper, this is maybe level 2.
Yeah, but basically, each one of these will allow you to do different things, right? I mean, and that's kind of like what we need to know, right? Which one will allow you to do what, right? And then, the time on which they come, it doesn't matter, right?
Yeah, Michael.
Sorry if this is a little off topic, Tommy, but I promise it actually is. If we were to categorize the type of person that we're trying to bring into the ecosystem, or the cohort that we're trying to bring into this ecosystem, is it builders, or is it retail, or is it institutions? Because I would have thought that like Polkadot's not new anymore. We got put in the Dino Coin category. So like I would have thought if there's a lot of builders out there, they probably already know about us. And so I think there's like, if we're gonna package this, my marketing brain kicks into gear and says we need to really like push hard on the Polkadot 2.0 with builders, that there's a whole new architecture, a whole new tech structure, so they come and re-look it again. Because most builders who have not paid attention to us probably still think that we're Parachain and Relay Chain model. And even like there was a thread going around the other day, like singing AVAX praises because they've pretty much knocked off our architecture. So I'd say if we're talking to builders, like we really need to push hard that there's a whole new architecture right now. But then that's where the complicated one comes in. But if we're talking to retail, it's a completely different category, completely different message that we want to share.
I got some thoughts on that, but I want to hear from Spencer.
I was just gonna say, I think like B2B2C is probably the best positioning, because like bring businesses into the ecosystem, regardless of if they can like fucks with Web3, is like kind of irrelevant. Web3, particularly I think areas where you can create investment vehicles that live on Polkadot, and ways in which lenders and borrowers can have access to more liquidity. I think like just focusing on that and making it like dumb easy and living on Asset Hub is like the best approach. It's our best chance for success in my opinion. So B2B2C I think is the messaging. But maybe that's a Sean Tabrizi question too, because Sean is like the unofficial spokesperson here.
Sorry, Jay, just to butt in there again on that one, because I want to hit on that. I do think that we internally get way too excited and pat ourselves on the back about how good our tech is, because our tech is amazing, and that's why we're all here. But no one cares. No one cares.
Yeah, buddy. Yeah, I think it's important to differentiate the activity of internal communications, where we're keeping the 12,000 people or however many people are working on Polkadot, VCs, regulators, builders, investors, all on the same page. That's one thing. And then there's this other question of marketing, finding a market fit for the various things we're providing. And I would say that the retail marketing is probably is quickly becoming, if not already, the least valuable funnel. I mean, retail is like a massive attention, and that that can be a signal for certain customers. However, how relevant are they? I mean, for how long are they relevant in a market cycle anymore? When they're on the scene, they're doing gambling, and then they're not on the scene, and they're doing nothing. Having like specifically targeting people who are going to build on Hub, that's a funnel. Specifically targeting people who are going to use stablecoins in South America, that's a funnel. Stablecoin use in Africa, that's a funnel. B2B, that's a funnel. This whole like competing for retards, I mean retail is not really the focus anymore. So there's internal comms, and then there's external marketing, and then external marketing, in my opinion, has a bunch of specific funnels that I think, as we're alluding to here, we're starting to kind of work out what those funnels are, but they lead to specific outcomes. It's not just like awareness, Yeah, Jose?
Yeah, I want to add to that, I mean, that we need to stop talking about how superior our technology is, because other ecosystem, other younger builders, they see us like with this, yeah, you're superior, but no one is building on you, right? And it feels that we are in this area of, yeah, we have great technology, but no one wants to use it. And it's like, well, why is that? It's because probably we're making them feel bad about the technology, but they are succeeding, right? So we need to change something about how people is perceiving us, on that front. And I feel that I'm just like, whenever I'm just talking to Ethereum people, it's like, a wall is like, yeah, you're superior, but what, right?
Yeah, I mean, there's some good examples of this B2B stuff. Like what Spencer's doing is like we're actually selling this like this payment plan to venues. This is huge, right? We're not talking to the users at all. The Connor Daly thing, I hate to bring it up again, but that was a B2B play. People not paying attention thinks it's like trying to reach out to race car fans. No, we have VBrick. I'm going to go interview them next week. Who, well, at least recently was going to deploy something massive on Polkadot on our stuff here. Yeah, this is what we're really after here. So we have like people building on Hub, people building in the cloud, and then people using the products that are built in both of those places. That's like what we should be doing.
Yeah, that's very good. Simplify the discussion, go into the product verticals, and yeah, I'm gonna work with that, and then we're gonna have 2 versions of the roadmap. Thank you.
All right. Anything else we want to discuss today? That was a hell of a show. Could be some interesting clips and conversations from this puppy. We have a few refs that are confirming right now. We have Spencer's ref confirming at 81.7%. Nice work there, Spence. 452,000 USDC for music and integration of the Billfold payment platform and program into venues around North America, maybe other places as well. Talisman's mobile wallet. Watch out. Watch out, Nova. They're coming for you. Competition is on. 74.9% in favor. Although still in the confirmation period, anything could happen. Uh-oh. No comment.
I wish them luck. Like, there's quite a lot of mobile wallets in Polkadot, and Nova seems to be the best one by a landslide. So
we'll have to see.
Good luck.
We don't know until we know. And also retroactive funding for the block space by the Sub-Zero team. There was some reason why this made sense, and I guess 99.9% of voters agree. That is in confirmation. Yeah, Lee.
It made sense because I think there was a comment like, go to the events bounty. Oh my God. At the time, Web0 was a curator on the events bounty, and it was seen as a conflict of interest to have the events bounty fund this, right? Which is why it's in OpenGov. I believe they are not curators of the events bounty anymore, but at the time they were.
Cool. Yep. Nice. All right. Good show. I mean, how's everybody feeling? Is everybody okay? Yeah, Lee.
just for the Polkadot only listeners, a referendum did just get approved on Kusama that is going to bring 33,333 KSM tokens to, I believe Jay said, the Polkadot hub or the Polkadot Dex hub hydration pretty soon. So hopefully that'll spare on UIs adding the bridge and everything. Be quite good to have some interoperability between Polkadot and Kusama. Pretty
Yes,
big, pretty
that's
excited.
That's cool. Yeah, and then this big dot one we talked about with Hyperbridge and Snowbridge. So cool. That's going to be epic. Thank you, everybody who stuck around on this panel, everybody who was here before, and everybody in the chat for your participation today. Thanks for paying attention to OpenGov and keeping this rolling. And we'll see you all on Monday. Reminder, check out Space Monkeys with Jeff Burgess this Sunday. It's super cool. I mean, it's just so fun to interview these people. And he takes us on a great ride. And yeah, you'll learn a lot from that one. That's on Sunday. Nice 30-minute episode. We'll see you back on Monday for Kusama AAG, everybody. Have a great weekend.